Welcome to the Cosmic Download for April 2019. I'm Anna Francesca Celestino. I'm an intuitive and a life coach.
And I'm Simone Butler. I'm an astrological consultant.
Well, here we are. I have to say that when I touched into the energy for this month, all I wanted to do was go back to bed. It was hard to do the reading. It was like, I felt so sleepy. That was the first thing I got, with this sleepy energy, like the sirens calling me back to bed, you know?
Right. Well, that's because Mercury is conjunct Neptune right now, and Neptune is the cosmic depths of the ocean, and Mercury is our minds. And of course, Mercury's been retrograde. It's getting ready to go direct on Thursday, but it's still in Pisces, and through April 2nd, it will still be conjunct Neptune. So that sort of drifty, dreamy, I don't know where I am or what I'm doing feeling is likely to persist through them.
I felt like it was a scene from that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come, where all the the paintings are,
Yeah.
and that's what it felt like when I stepped into it. What I found, though, sitting behind that, and maybe it's something that'll come later in the month, I don't know, but what I found sitting behind that was actually denial. I felt like
what? You cut out.
Denial. I felt like there was denial sitting behind, like in the Shift System Book Club, we read last month, we read the book, The Year of Yes, or Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And in that book, she talks about having difficult conversations. And that's what kind of came up for me when I started thinking about this feeling of denial, is that actually, I think even starting last month, we started to see things more clearly. And when we see things clearly, we kind of have to, we feel compelled to act on what we're seeing. So maybe seeing things more clearly in relationships, in situations that we're in, things that aren't working, sort of broken patterns. And that, and then we feel like, okay, I should do something about that. And it feels hard. And so, there's this feeling of, I just want to go back to bed. I don't want to deal with any of it.
Yeah. Well, that also goes along with what is the major theme for April, which is both Saturn and Pluto conjoining the South Node in the heavens. The South Node is your old patterns. It's all of our old patterns. And this is kind of a preview of the major astrological aspect that's coming in January of 2020, when Saturn and Pluto will be exactly conjoined in Capricorn. I won't get into that yet, but what Saturn and Pluto are giving us access to, or offering us the opportunity to do this month, is to purge the past and to learn. See, Saturn is about containing and holding something, and Pluto is about power. So it's learning to hold your power in the face of the things that frighten you the most. The first week of April, I will say, is the Pluto South Node. And Pluto even more so has to do with like quaking in your boots around confrontations. And then the last week of April is when Saturn is on the South Node. But just as an example, oftentimes issues from the past will come back that are really scary to deal with. And I know this is really a first world problem here, but I have this gorgeous tree in my backyard that my dad planted back in 1951. It is I adore this tree. And in the past, the people that lived behind me wanted permission to trim it, and they ended up butchering it. And I thought it was going to die. It was very traumatic. I was really angry. So now those people have moved, and new people have moved in, and guess what? They want to trim the tree. And so here it is, in this old fear and this disempowerment that I felt back then has returned. And it's like, how can I handle this differently this time without dismissing it out of hand? Because these people they can have a view, whatever. I shouldn't go on and on. But that's my personal little issue around this.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting because, Simone, that is exactly what I was getting is that starting last year, we started getting this energy about standing in our power, standing up for ourselves. And I think that that's very much a piece of what's the opportunity that we're having this month. And certainly, you know, I think that's going to go on for quite a long time. And so I think it's a matter of, you know, these difficult conversations that are coming up. And I don't think we may see a lot of them, you know, a lot of opportunities to have these difficult conversations, and that can be completely overwhelming. We don't have to address every single thing that we see. I think a lot of times just observing, like you're saying, you're seeing how you were before, you're recognizing all the components of it. And then when we get into the moment in that conversation with the other person, I think just the awareness itself allows us to respond in a different way. So I don't think, you know, it's a big methodical thing that we have to do, plotting what we're going to say and all that. I think just seeing the pattern, recognizing who we are in it, that you don't have to be helpless or defensive or whatever that might be from your past or whatever, that you just show up now, you see the pattern, show up, stand up for yourself, back yourself up. I think that's very much what we're being called to do this month.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be able to do it in your scenario? With your dad coming home from the hospital?
Yeah, well, I'm being tested, that's for sure. All the family dynamics, being the middle child and feeling like, left out or, whatever that might be. I'm definitely being challenged to recognize what's going on, how everybody is, what the dynamics are, and I'm hoping that I can show up in a different way here.
You will. You will. I have faith in you.
Thank you, Simone. Thanks for your support. So, anything else that you want to share for this month?
Well, yeah, mid-month is a very important time because Mercury will finally be moving into Aries. Mercury has been slogging through Pisces, which is not a happy place for Mercury to be. Mercury wants to go and understand things clearly and make plans. And in Pisces, where it's been for weeks and weeks because of the retrograde, it hasn't been able to fully do that. And so on the 18th, the day before a full moon, the planet Mercury goes into Aries, and then Venus also goes into Aries, I think on the 20th. So the period from the 18th through the 20th, there's boom, boom, boom. A lot of things are popping in a fiery kind of way. And we have the second full moon in Libra in a row. We just had a full moon at 0 Libra. Now we're having a full moon at 29 Libra with Libra Aries. And therefore, I would say that's a super powerful time in which a lot will be revealed. And I was thinking to do some kind of a fire ceremony or ritual burning of something to really celebrate that full moon and whatever it is that I have decided to release, that I know whatever old inner fear, I am ready to fully let go. So I would recommend that everyone do that if possible. Not everybody has access to a backyard brazier or, a fire pit at the ocean, but you can just make a little ritual and write something down and burn it in a candle if that's all you can manage.
Yeah. Well, can I jump on board with yours then? Because I feel like part of this is being able to really see these patterns for ourselves, see who we've been, how we've been. So maybe just that part of what we could write down is just acknowledging these patterns, these old patterns that we're seeing, how we've been in them, and letting all of that go. So I think that's what you're saying. I just kind of want to piggyback onto that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to do that. So have we done it for this month, or you have any other little goodies for us?
Oh my gosh, I could go on and on. It's zipping along in Gemini this month, but it's also squaring Venus in Pisces, at least through the middle of the month. And I wrote about this and also spoke about it in my video for my weekly show, Simone Says. And I talked about it as the fish on a bicycle, which is such an interesting metaphor on so many levels. But the fish is Venus in Pisces. The bicycle is Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini wants to go, go, go. And Venus in Pisces wants to just kind of dream and drift. And so there's like this dynamic tension this month between those two energies. And you got to kind of, with a square, you have to give energy to each end of the square. Otherwise, you're just like, you're caught in the square dynamic, which is very uncomfortable. So that means definitely give time and energy to that need to just melt and drift and go for that little walk around the block if that's all you can manage. And then when you have the energy, let the Mars in Gemini, send you to the gym for the workout or to do something a little more active and engaged. But you may find a kind of like stop-start energy between those two this month.
It's so funny. I had written something so similar for mine. It was like, okay, there's this calling to go back to sleep, and we don't want to completely give into that, but you don't want to completely deny it either. We need to take those little moments to recharge and just sit and dream, or go, like you're saying, go for a walk or something to just recharge ourselves through the month. And I think that Mars energy that you're talking about can help us with those difficult conversations and facing things that we need to face for ourselves, standing up for ourselves, all that kind of warrior energy that we need in some of these situations. So
yeah,
I think that pretty well sums up this month. I think we've got.
I think so.
All right, good. I just want to mention, speaking of warriors, I want to mention that I've got an event coming up May 17th through the 19th called Heart Path. And it's working with 4 archetypes: the sovereign, warrior, magician, and lover. I'm co-facilitating with a friend, Rick Bronick. Both of us have been doing personal growth facilitation for, I hate to say, at least 25 years apiece. And this training is all about helping you to find out the patterns that, like we're talking about, the things that helpless child or the victim, the parts of ourselves that come from old wounds from our childhoods, helping to pull those out of shadow, put them in front of us, and heal or integrate them back into a wholeness in ourselves so that we can show up more powerfully in our lives. So I will put a link on the bottom. Rick and I just did a 20-minute free webinar about the archetypes and the shadow. So you're welcome to take a look at that if you're interested in the event. Our early bird discount goes away April 14th. So take a look real quick and see if you're interested. We'll be doing it in Julian, California, which is in San Diego area.
Great.
Good. All right. Well, we hope you have stand strong this month. Take a little time out for yourself to just wander. And I guess we'll see you in May.
See ya.